the smell what the Rock is cooking.
What up? Welcome to the Rock Block.
Pew, pew, pew.
This is episode 12 now.
Is it?
Episode 12.
This is 12.
We're your lovable hosts. I'm Aaron.
I'm Sloan.
And I'm Zach.
And we just did 10 push-ups each.
We just did 10 push-ups to get us excited talking about The Rock. What better way to begin talking about an American icon whose body's become so important and ingrained in American society than using our physical bodies to get a little blood
American
flowing.
cinema, American culture.
Just to get us going a little bit, you know?
I'd also like to mention,
We're
with
speaking
The
his
Rock
language.
and such a beautiful physique, it's also, well, not when this comes out, but today that we're recording, it's Valentine's Day. And what better
Valentine's
way
Day.
to celebrate Valentine's Day than with the most perfect physique celebration of The Rock? That didn't actually make sense, but I think they get it.
It's just
That's
the love.
That's what Cupid originally wanted.
The love and the lust.
I think Cupid looked like The Rock
It's
in
mainly
the
lust.
original
That
text.
sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
If there's someone The Rock shooting a love arrow at me,
You're going to smell what the love is cooking, you know what I'm
The
saying?
Rock shoots lust arrows at you.
He
The
does.
Rock, you get into a lawsuit when you get hit with one of these arrows.
So we are hot on the trails coming out. We finally did it. We watched some wrestling.
We've been talking
Yeah, we
about it
did.
forever, since some of the first episodes.
Yeah,
Kind of secretly dreading it.
you were. I was not.
I was.
I was looking forward to it.
I've been really I didn't
Hesitant
know,
about
I didn't know
some
anything
things.
about wrestling.
I was excited for the nostalgia for myself.
I didn't have a history with it, and this is all new content. And
Yeah.
Sloan supplied the Rock Block with some really, really good rock wrestling
Should we
DVDs.
post links to it in the comments?
No, I don't think that those are sold.
Sloan, where did you
somewhere.
buy these
I got
Rock
them-
WrestleMania DVDs?
Also, greatest stars of the 90s.
Yeah, the various WrestleMania DVDs. Where did you find them?
So, for our listeners, if you would like to get some Rock and other miscellaneous WWE wrestling videos, check out your local disc replay because I went to one and they had a whole section
I
of
love me a
wrestling.
disc replay, dude.
It was a whole section of
This
wrestling.
replay is a really
So
nice
good.
place.
It's
They have
so
DVDs
good.
and Blu-rays, people.
It's so good.
But I got the DVDs.
I can see them have a wrestling section. That's,
They had a whole section.
I need to check that shit next time I'm
And
home.
I had too many choices.
Yeah, really.
There were...
And there were a lot of Rock ones.
yeah.
Oh,
Because he's the
really?
people's champ. There
You
was
have to
the people's
narrow it
champ.
down?
I did.
Wow.
But I
That's
just
crazy.
figured this is a great start.
So the two that you got one based off of the greatest wrestling stars
Yeah.
of the '90s,
Yeah.
and one featuring just The Rock.
Just The Rock.
So I feel like that's
So
that's
if
the
you want to
best
find
choice.
them on Amazon, they're called WWE Greatest Stars of the 90s and then The Rock. So
Yeah.
good luck with that.
So when we first started this podcast, there was kind of a more surface level fascination with The Rock. We loved him. We didn't know his full story as much. At least I didn't. And
Not
I
to the
think-
extent I do now, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I know him way more now than I did 10 episodes
I know
ago.
him more than I know myself, I think.
I definitely knew some Rock background. I would watch the wrestling as a fourth grader. I read his biography. And I think some of the information that I got through...
That's hilarious.
was, I'm sorry, do you
I
think
mean,
dedication
badass.
is hilarious?
You're right.
So, and I think some of the information that, we should also mention, through these DVDs, they don't just show you the wrestling matches, they also give you background information. I think some of that
Yeah.
was a refresher to
It's
me, but I
crucial,
also
too.
got new information.
Yeah.
Like, really
Yeah.
learning, so, like, what's great about these DVDs, which I recommend everyone buys, is that they give you an outline of the trajectory of his wrestling career.
Yeah.
And also the careers of, in, like, the greatest stars of the 90s, also their careers.
They show you how a rock is formed.
Yes.
You know how
All
like
of the phases.
you know how let's say you're a kid and you listen to your rock and roll and then some crusty guys like you don't understand it. You need to know the roots. You need
Yeah.
to know the classics. How
You need to
it's-
get their EP.
How it started. All the classics. This helps you understand present rock, knowing
Yes.
his past.
Absolutely.
For
Knowing
sure.
It really
where
does.
he came from, you see him more truthfully.
Yeah.
So do you want me to get into some background that we learned?
Yeah, what did we learn
So, like,
from...
some-
Jump in from the
and
beginning.
some of this stuff, it's like I think we all knew some of this information on a surface level, but we got more details.
Yeah.
So, he's a third generation superstar. I knew that his dad was a wrestler. Didn't know the grandpa was.
I didn't
also
know
a
either.
wrestler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
So,
interesting.
His grandpa was Peter Maivia, and then dad was Rocky Johnson. At least those are their wrestling names.
Yeah.
And The Rock, as they said, he was a 6'4" football player when he was 16. He was already 6'4".
6'4", 16 years
Gargantuan.
old. Holy
the most
shit.
masculine 16-year-old that has
You-
ever existed.
You guys are kind of brushing past his past here.
I'm
We
not.
didn't. I want to talk about his grandpa and his dad a little bit here.
No, I was going to. I was just saying.
Yeah, what you
Okay.
got? What do you
I
got?
was just
Well,
okay.
so we're introduced to Peter Maivia, and he's kind of almost stereotypical Hawaiian. He's
Yeah.
he has the tribal tattoos across
You know
his
what? He
waist.
kind of reminded me of Maui.
Yeah, he did.
He had the body shape.
Yeah, he reminded me of Maui.
Maui.
It was like if you mix The Rock's body with his grandpa's body, you get Maui.
Like, not as
And-
tall as The Rock, but
and not
like...
as muscular,
shorter
but
and
like
thicker.
the
It
thickness.
was
in
Yeah.
the, in
genuine.
The, in
It was
the
genuine
trunk.
power.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and he started a family of Samoan fighters.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Spiritual family.
Yes.
Cultural family.
A movement, at least.
Yeah, it seemed like as far as it was presented in the stuff we were watching, he like opened up the door for other people with Samoan backgrounds to get into wrestling. So then I don't even remember, they had like a whole like branch of people that then got into it after.
there were, like,
they
6,
called
7
him
people.
High
The
Chief.
Samoan twins.
High Chief.
High Chief Maivia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big deal. No
And
one's
so
called me a high chief.
he opened up the doors, and so his grandpa, he's from Hawaii. He started there, and then he started wrestling in New Zealand, and then he became like a big wrestling star in the U.S. when he moved to California, and then opened those doors
Yeah.
for other Samoan or Hawaiian wrestlers.
So his grandpa has the Hawaiian aspect down, and I think his
Yeah.
dad has the muscle aspect down.
Has the muscle.
Yeah.
His dad, Rocky
Johnson.
is vascular.
Yeah.
This dude is veiny.
Yeah.
This
Pure muscle.
dude,
And
I don't.
charisma.
They didn't teach
Both
us much
have
about
strong
him.
Charisma. He got him from both
Did he?
sides.
Yeah.
It was charisma.
I mean, just
They're
looking
both
at their
performers,
faces
too, you
in
know?
the
Yeah.
crowd, like his grandpa, like so.
He was charming.
It's his grandpa on his mom's side, and then his mom, Ata Maivia, she married Rocky Johnson, so he's got wrestling also coming from both sides, like mom blood, dad blood, both wrestler
Perfect storm.
charisma.
His-
like you couldn't make a better people's champion.
His grandma
Yeah.
was actually, at least briefly, the VP of the WWE.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the WWE. I think
It was the VP of something
it was-
wrestling.
It was a
was-
wrestling
I
thing, but
think-
it wasn't WWE.
what is it called?
Okay. WWG.
It's a different one. No, it's the N.
Worldwide Wrestling
NCW.
Land.
I think it was NCW. She was something in
NBA.
charge. She was the person that was high up. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
She was a big deal.
She was
Yeah.
a wrestling
After
maven.
Grandpa died,
Yeah.
she took over and she was into the business and like everybody. This was like it's a family business
Family business.
of superstars of
So-
Superman.
So Rocky Johnson births the Pebble that we now know as The Rock.
Yeah.
He is a small boy.
We saw, I think this is the
Adorable.
youngest photos we've seen of The Rock,
tiny,
too.
As a
Great.
cute kid.
Very small
getting
kid.
held up by Andre the Giant, right next to Ric Flair.
Yeah.
He has been involved with wrestling since he was a tiny little pebble.
Tiny tot.
But Papa didn't want him to follow that same trajectory.
No.
Dad had a hard time and he didn't want Rocky to do it.
life I had.
So The Rock,
Football.
Yeah, so The Rock, he played football. He played in college football with Miami. He was in his sophomore year. They won the national championship. He was
Huge.
That's
he was
pretty
a
good.
giant at
Yeah.
this time too. He was already a giant at 16.
Yeah, he was
they
insane.
said-
they
Sophomore
showed
year?
a picture of him at 16.
He was straight up a professional football player by the time he was
He's
playing
more
in high school.
masculine than all of our
Dude
dads.
could stomp
Yeah.
on my nuts easily when he was 12. Crazy. I have been so emasculated seeing how big and manly he was when he was just a tiny pup filled with
baby.
testosterone.
A little
Yeah.
baby. A little baby boy.
Man.
But the little baby was 6'4". So, anyway, so then The Rock, he's playing, or at this time, he's just Dwayne Johnson. Football player in
yeah.
Miami. And then he was, I think, trying to play professional football. They didn't touch on this, but I thought
No, I thought about-
I
yeah.
thought Dwayne Johnson then tried to play professional football in Canada. Because the NFL, I don't think
familiar.
he got an. They didn't talk about this because maybe it's like maybe.
Different doc. We gotta watch something
I
else.
think like maybe
Yeah,
that would
stay
put him in
tuned.
some kind of a bad light, but I think
Yeah.
it was that he didn't get quite into the NFL, but I'm pretty sure he played in Canada. Then that didn't work out, and as he said in the little mini doc that we watched, he had $7 in his pocket, and he came back home.
$7.
And he
Now
said,
is the
"Dad, I
most
wanna wrestle."
well-paid actor in America a couple of years in a row.
It's hard work, man. It's hard work.
Dedication
He
and charisma.
he deserves it all.
He does.
yeah.
It's an incredible
There's
story.
no one who deserves it more.
So he came home and he had $7 in his pocket. Football didn't work out, and he's like, "Dad, I want to wrestle." And then Dad was like, "No," and he's like, "Dad, I want to wrestle." And he's like, "Fine." So then the
I'll
Rock-
train you then,
Yeah.
son.
The next day, he's training
This is
with
about
his
training.
dad and Steve Lombardi, who's like, I don't know, he's just been like, I think he's just been like a dude that's been wrestling for a long time. I don't think he was ever a big wrestler, but he's always been in the
That
mix
guy
for
looked
a
like
long
a
time.
jackass.
I think he's just a person that's been in the
He
mix,
had
like
like
in
the
the
kind of
business.
office cubicle hair.
Or it was his first like match was with Steve Lombardi, he was a wrestler, and I think he's just also like been in the business for a really long time. So like that was the thing, and so then
So then, from the basic document, do you want to talk more
I was just
about
gonna
the
talk
basic?
then
What do you got?
his name.
Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah.
So then The Rock, he's like, well, he's not The Rock yet though. He got into WWE.
It's
Yeah.
a good tribute how he does
He's
this.
getting into professional wrestling,
Yeah.
but
His debut.
he takes the name of both his grandpa and his dad, who are Rocky Johnson and Peter Maivia. He's Rocky Maivia.
Yeah.
And I
Cool
think
move.
as
Cool
when
move.
The Rock was talking back on it, he was like, I wanted to be my own man. But this was his way to enter into it because he did have the name recognition.
Yeah.
And people...
That helps him
there
get
was
in the
some-
door.
there was
It tells
definitely
people
get
what
in
your
the door.
background is
Yeah,
immediately.
it
If my
definitely
dad
helped you
was
get in the door.
Rocky,
And your
I would
grandpa,
do
your
Yeah.
grandpa, who like
Yeah.
started like
Smart move.
people with that that background to get into wrestling.
Yeah.
It was a good start, but this is before he really became his own man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Do you wanna? Well,
So
this
that
is
was
a lot of
that's
other
kind of
stuff.
wrapping up the little mini doc we watched.
Yeah.
And that brought us to the earliest fight that we have recorded on DVD, which was 97.
Seven.
Yeah.
This is pre-Rock versus pre-Triple H.
Yes. This is. I didn't even
It
realize.
turns
this.
out Triple H's name, those H's, they stand for
It
something.
used to be Hunter
Harvard
Hearst.
Henry Harrison.
No,
No.
Hunter Hearst Hemsley.
Hunter Hearst Hemsley.
Of course, that's not your wrestling name.
Yeah.
Of course, you're Triple H.
You
But
sound like a fucking loser who's
So,
getting shoved into lockers.
the
Yeah.
match we watched,
Doesn't
it
look
was
like one, but yeah.
it was like both of them before they became their full wrestler, like their full personas.
Yeah.
So it was Rocky Maivia versus Hunter Hearst Hemsley, and yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry.
So Hunter Hemsley Hemington comes out in a beautiful purplish.
It's like a purple
wizard
magenta
robe.
wizard robe.
It's insane.
It's interesting choice. I'm very into it.
It's not necessarily menacing or badass. It's glorious.
interesting, I would say too.
It's a wizard robe.
Yeah.
And then
I guess this is not really representative of how Triple H turned out to be later.
Yeah, and the same with Rocky. So then, with this being Rocky, he wasn't in like the way we think of The Rock as a wrestler is with the little black hot pants and the black boots, but
Yeah.
he was in like blue, and
Blue.
he had some little curls on top.
Longest hair we have
The
seen him
longest hair.
have.
He had some nice wet curls. They
Wet.
look like
I love me some nice wet curls.
pre-sweaty.
He's
They
all-
sweated
When my
up.
hair gets wet and curly, I fucking love it. I love it on Dwayne even
Wet
more.
hair can be better than dry hair.
Oh,
most
wet
of the
hair is
time.
definitely better
Especially
than dry
with
hair.
those
You
curls,
kidding
because he
me?
swings it around and he just sprinkles y'all.
Yeah.
And then he had white boots, which I think is also
he also
important to
had
mention.
kind of like tassels, streamers.
He wasn't not
It was
in this
kind of a
match.
tiki vibe.
I don't think he was in this.
It was
match.
it was that first one. He had like tassels.
Oh,
or
did he? And then he
something.
take them off.
Yeah.
He
Okay,
took
yeah.
him off quickly.
He was going on. Yeah, it
but
was part of the like Hawaiian vibe.
He looked. Yeah, he was flying Hawaiian for a second.
But
here.
speaking maybe more to the white boots, he came out and like was presented as more of a hero type character.
Yeah, I think
Uh-huh.
they started. So this is. Should we get into that background right now, or
Yeah.
get into it later?
Don't
Okay,
know.
so we found out from the doc stuff is like it's interesting, and I wonder if there was almost a bit of racism that was happening and that affected his career trajectory because Vince McMahon, you know, the WWE like CEO. Or
We all know
whatever,
how that
and
guy is.
BFFs with Donald Trump. He was down with Rocky and wanted to help Rocky be like a face as opposed to a heel, and like wanted him to be the people's champ.
Should we talk? I don't know if our viewers necessarily know face and heel. This is new information to me. If we could quickly talk about it.
So it's just like pretty simple. No, it's just like, well, it's face, or I've also like seen it referred to as baby face, but I think like they don't maybe use those terms as much anymore because it makes you look weak. But it's so like face is the good guy, the people that it's easy to root for, and then the heel is just like you're a bad
You're
guy.
a bad
Maybe you
guy
have
on
face
purpose.
makeup.
You're
Have like
you're paid to be the bad
You're
guy.
usually with a crew.
mask.
You're the crew that like fucks with people during the matches that
Yeah.
like mess things up.
People are
you're
supposed
a bad
to
boy.
boo you.
You're a menace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like you do nasty tricks and you like mess with the refs and stuff like that.
Okay, so that's
So-
faces and heels. So,
yeah.
The Rock starts here as a
I
face.
think as a face, and they wanted, and like Vince McMahon believed in The Rock. Like he saw his charisma, he saw his talent, his pure athleticism, and he wanted to like make him like a new face of the WWE. However, the people weren't having it.
We weren't ready for it.
Actually, I think we should get into this a little bit later.
Okay.
Now I
Take
think
us
about
where you want
it.
us to
So
go.
we start off with this first match though
Yeah.
is when we're trying to make The Rock a hero, a face.
Yeah.
He's wearing the white boots.
He's coming out first
Not
match.
Triple H.
ready
What
to
is
slam
it?
ass.
What is it? Hunter Hearst Helmsley's coming out with his black boots and his wizard robe. He's a bad boy. He's
Yeah.
a bad guy. He's a bad wizard.
But let's talk about The Rock's stats. How tall, how big is he right now?
I think
6'5", and
6'5",
They said
and,
6'5", 275.
270 something.
he's bigger
It's
than
big.
The-
Himley,
His
Hardington.
thighs, like they were both huge mountains of men. But just looking at the thighs, Rocky's thighs are twice the size of this dude.
All in the thighs.
Oh yeah, it makes Himsley look like a twink.
Yeah.
And he's still a 6'5", something
Yeah,
hundreds
That
of
guy's a
pounds.
refrigerator.
Yes.
Yeah. God.
And, also, and
this is small for The Rock.
Yeah.
It's insane how big the mask is. Oh, I love this man.
And I don't know, like, you know, it was, I mean, I didn't make a lot of notes of this match in particular. There wasn't anything that, like, stood out to me a whole lot, but I did write down some of the commentary from, so, like, most of the drama, I feel, of this match was in the commentators. So, like, they were wrestling, and then they were like, oh, it's Honky Tonk Man! And apparently that was a guy in the 90s?
Some
that was-
character.
This guy
Yeah.
looks like a sad Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, we thought that he was going to be a wrestler, but it turns out he
impersonator.
just talks on the mic.
It was awkward.
Bad black-dyed hair.
Yeah. I have a thing too. So, as going along with the interesting characters and the crowd being involved, I guess not semi-recently, but for the first time in recent memory, we have gone to our local wrestling match. So
That's
we
true.
kind of know how these things, like the vibe and the
Give us some
energy of the
perspective.
crowd, how much the crowd interacts with the performance of what's going on.
Crowd is kind of the blood of the event.
It's absolutely the blood of the event. They're so involved in it. So I think we have a unique perspective as being like seeing it from so many different angles, you know? So just if we talk about how people interact with the fighters
And
Well, I
and how
think-
that changes
I guess I,
People
what's going on.
I definitely
changed.
took notes on that in like the later, the
But
other
even
matches we
early in the
watched.
first one,
The
'cause
people had
as
something to say.
they start booing The Rock in this
Yeah.
first
Were
match.
were they saying Rocky sucks in this one already?
I thought so.
I believe
Oh,
they did.
okay.
Yeah.
I believe they
So yeah,
did.
that will be a recurring theme
Yeah.
of
Rocky
people
sucks.
not accepting The Rock for some reason.
They
Yeah.
felt. I think they felt
There's
that,
a lot of
that
Rocky
the
sucks.
wrestling association was kind of pushing this charming people's champ just at them, and then they're like, nah.
Maybe they didn't actually do the build up. They're just like, hey, he's
Yeah.
like maybe they just like made it to this is who he is, but like
It
didn't
speaks to
build
the power of the
relationship
crowd
first.
and the people that spend their times being
Well, I
involved
guess I'd
with
also
this sort
say
of
with
thing.
the crowd involvement,
changed
this
it.
match was for a championship belt
Yeah.
that Hunter Hearst Helmsley had.
Mm-hmm.
So then that also got the crowd electrified because
Yeah.
it's a belt match.
Defending
yeah,
a belt is
Rocky
always
sucks
like
I
already.
assume all matches are belt matches.
No, they're not.
all big ones.
The ones that
Maybe all the ones
we
I've
were
seen.
specifically watching the ones that were documented on DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all
yeah,
matches are for a
true.
belt.
We are only seeing the
We were
highlights.
watching the big matches.
Yeah.
So it was for a belt, and yeah, I guess in this one they were already saying Rocky sucks.
Mm-hmm.
The people were just not for him yet. They weren't ready.
Towards the end of the match, one move that I remembered stood out to me. The Rock is in a grip. Hunter Hemington has him.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson. He's got his long cigarette thing. He's tripping balls, and he has The Rock in some headlock. And the announcers describe him as The Rock is as limp as a dish rag. Also compared to him to a slinky in this.
Oh, yeah, I
same
wrote down the
couple
slinky.
sentences. He is a dish rag and a slinky. You get close-ups of his face. He's not having a good time.
They also
he's getting pinched.
another comment that they made when Rocky, sorry, I should say Rocky because he's Rocky at this point.
Rocky.
When Rocky was getting like punched in the face, they said something about his gray matter being scrambled, and he was a few fries short of a Happy Meal. There was also a
Brutal.
joke
There's
about
so many layers of Americanism
there was
on all of
something
this.
about the Rocky. There was a weird poop joke. Something about giving you runs. They're like, oh, is he giving him the
missed that one.
runs? Yeah,
I missed that
There was
one.
something about the runs, and they
The
were like
thing
joking
is-
about diarrhea.
So we've been to a local wrestling match. I went to a WrestleMania match with Wade, and the thing that floored me most wasn't the fighting or how muscly the people were, which was crazy, but just like the language involved that the crowd used. I didn't know what the hell was going on most of the time. People were yelling crazy shit, and I was like, what does that
Wrestling
even
jargon?
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So much jargon. We're like, I don't even know what they're talking about.
Oh.
I think that might have been one of those things where
Yeah.
the runs could be something else. I
Well,
don't
yeah.
even know at this point.
It could just
I
be
will
Wrestling
say,
language,
the thing
it's a
poop
whole
joke.
The thing
subculture
is,
I'm not even
we'll get into
involved
some
with.
of his
We'll have to
catchphrases
dig
later.
even deeper then.
But yeah, I
Well,
mean, it's
get a
definitely
shovel,
a thing,
dude.
like, for me, seeing, like, because I went to a wrestling match when I was a kid, and, like, I knew this stuff from a kid, so, like, when I was seeing some of the signs in the crowd, I knew what they were.
Who'd you
But
see
that's
fight?
because, I only remember Stone Cold, honestly. That was
It's so important,
That's,
isn't
like,
it?
what's in
It's-
my memory, and I was just, like, so fucking stoked to see Stone Cold.
Yeah.
That's about all that I remember,
Okay.
It's not
to
nothing.
be honest. Like, none of my other favorite wrestlers were there.
Yeah.
But Stone Cold was there. He was the final match, and it was fucking rad. And I was
Nice.
super stoked. And he, like, shook
Sick.
beers and, shot him at the crowd.
Yeah.
It was
Nice.
badass. I fucking loved it.
Yeah,
he, like,
yeah,
flipped
yeah.
everybody off. It was so cool. I fucking loved it.
Dude, fucks.
I'm gonna go see
That's for
wrestling
sure.
again, guys. I can't wait.
It's just like
I've
I don't
caught
know
the
the
bug.
wrestlers
I've
anymore.
definitely caught the bug.
It's
And
just such a unique experience.
Seeing it live has made me way more open to actually watching this because I was scared. I didn't want to ever.
If anything, in person, it's weirder.
I've been
'cause
dreading
You're
this
like, oh,
episode.
everyone is pretending this is normal.
I think the thing
Yeah,
that
it's
you...
surreal.
I think
Yeah.
the thing that's important when you are watching wrestling is to both the recognition that it's fake, but also the recognition that these are people that are pushing their bodies to limits and they do get hurt.
Yeah.
And it's also
They're motherfuckers.
It's impressive that also, and they are constantly in communication. Like there is
Yeah.
something special happening. It's not any other kind of sport, and
No.
it's not any other kind of drama. It's this weird thing that's in between.
Muscle ballet.
It's amazing. It's muscle. It's that's the word I was going to use earlier. Ballet.
Yeah.
Muscle
ballet, muscle theater.
Well, you
Muscle
said muscle theater,
theater.
but I was thinking it's more of a dance. It's more of a
Muscle
ballet.
ballet.
But there
When
is
they
more.
hold each
There,
other- they
there
hold
is
each
some
other
more
in the air.
acting, but yeah, it's a little bit of both.
The way
It's-
that they're so
Calling,
physical.
calling it fake is a huge disservice.
if you could get a big
Yes.
bowl,
It's not real combat.
if you could get a big bowl and
It's
mix
real
in
something.
wrestling, ballet, and theater, somehow that would come out and it would be wrestling. Somehow.
You have, as long as if you have recognized it for what it is.
Some dash of
And then can
Americanism.
It's
enjoy
people
it.
that have done real training to get really
So
big,
much training.
do real
And
stunts,
so much
Yeah.
trust.
real
So
choreography.
much
Trust.
trust between
Trust.
each other
So much
to
trust.
do these things
Yeah.
that could like fucking break your neck.
Yeah.
Badass.
It's insane.
Each fight has at least a couple genuinely insane moves.
Yeah.
And like it would be something if some like little limber twink was flipping around, but these are fucking refrigerators
Yeah.
flipping each other over.
And just plopping their bodies on each other.
Insane.
One other thing I just wanted to say before we maybe move on to the next bout was that, so like, again, like we've been saying, like this was when he was still Rocky Maivia. And just about like the comments from like commentators. Oh, we should also say Vince McMahon was commenting on this first one.
And he was
Pretty
normal.
interesting.
Why was he? He was so
Pretty
normal.
interesting.
He was
It
so
was weird
like.
to see that Vince McMahon was in on the
Yeah.
comments because he's usually like the guy like backstage.
He's
you
a
don't see him very
meme.
much.
He's a meme at this point.
He
But,
became one because he was just straight up normal. The weirdest thing was how normal he was in this.
He has too much money. He got too much money, and then
Yeah, I'm sure
But-
later on we'll see him get way more flamboyant.
I just wanted to mention though, they did make fun of Rocky's grandpa being dead during the match.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
they
like,
did.
where's he watching from?
Yeah.
Where's Peter Maivia watching from?
And
Yeah.
another guy's like,
No.
be nice, his grandpa's dead.
It was just,
It was awkward. It
But-
seemed like off the
Poor
cuff, and
taste.
they were trying
but
to
it's
like,
interesting though,
let's move on.
seeing that this is like the more beginning of his career, and it'll come up again later, just like how
Yeah.
much that he's still connected though to his dad and his grandpa, and we'll see that again in other matches with his earlier career, that he still hasn't totally broken off and become The Rock. He's still definitely Rocky Maivia, and I don't know, like people aren't seeing him as his own thing yet. He
Sure.
had to
Yeah.
break through,
He's-
and he just like he had to work and earn
He's
it.
part of the movement started by his dad and grandpa at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's not only that you're living in your dad's shadow, you're living in your grandfather's shadow.
full
So like you're
legacy.
living in like you're the generation of
And
your
his grandpa
family.
was like a
It's
cultural
not
legacy.
a thin shadow either. It's wide.
It's wide.
There's like 10
It's
Samoan
muscly.
fighters.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
influenced by him, and they were able to break
There's a
in.
lot of
Yeah.
protein in that shadow.
Yeah.
God.
So I guess we can talk about how the first fight wrapped up.
Oh yeah, roly poly.
The
I
roly
call it the roly poly pin.
So the Rock is getting clobbered. He's being pinched. He's turned into
Honestly,
a
that first
Slinky.
fight, he just got the shit beat out of him like almost the entire time.
In the last fucking 15 seconds, he roly polies.
They both have their
Uh,
legs in the air and their
Hector
shoulders on the
Hammerfell,
Yeah.
Heimlich, and he beats
It
him,
didn't
I
make
guess.
It didn't make sense. It just like picture
Henry
this in your
Heinrich
mind. Close
Hemsworth.
your eyes. Try to picture. I'll just say Triple H and The Rock. Their legs are straight in the air, but their bodies are intertwined at the shoulder, and they're on the ground. And then
fusion,
they
a
went back and
dance.
forth a couple of times like a roly poly, and they rolled around. Then they wrapped their legs,
Yeah.
and then I guess
It
Rocky
was
won.
it was sensual.
Yeah, it was over before I really knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, my body knew The Rock won. My mind didn't know why.
My mind was confused. Yeah, for sure.
In my heart, I knew that he had been the victor. You could tell, but it didn't make a lot of sense. It was fast. It was weird, and it led us to the second fight.
Yes, the second fight, and then we'll get into a little bit more background, I think, real quick.
Sure.
So this is leading into the full-on Rocky sucks. Like, people were not
Yeah.
having it. So
this is a
when
popular
this is-
chant at this point.
This is around the time, so then after this fight is when they were trying to push more for Rocky to be a face.
Yeah.
And people weren't having it. They didn't like it. And I was like, maybe it's racism. Because I don't know. Like, why were they not having it so much?
I don't think race has much to
With
do
how
with it.
attractive he is, and how much of a great wrestler he is, and his physique.
I think
like,
people thought he was a douche.
Maybe.
I could see.
He's coming out of
So
nowhere
I'm not
with that
discrediting
confidence.
either of those angles. I could see them both playing into this, but I also think, again, knowing how the crowd is, I think the crowd just loves to hate
Yeah.
just as much, if not more, than they love to love the people fighting.
Yes.
So if there's someone they hate that they can yell words at and just be more involved with,
It's a Shark Tank in there.
yeah,
They
it's gonna kind of be part of the atmosphere, right?
yeah.
So-
they want to choose someone alive. It doesn't really matter who.
Yeah.
So then they decided, instead of trying to push him as a face, let's go with this. And then he dropped Rocky Maivia, and he became The Rock.
The
and I
Rock.
was surprised. I guess I don't remember this part of the history, but The Rock started off as a heel. When he became The Rock, he was a heel, and they decided to. I have some quotes.
Which
from
again is a
what we
bad
watched.
boy.
His arrogance and sense an already fueled crowd. They're already hating him, and so
Yeah.
he just kept building on his arrogance.
He
and
just
putting
he
out.
fed on the hate.
I thought
Another quote: "Most hated superstar."
Most hated superstar. I thought this was interesting because a lot of modern contemporary rock fans might not know that the term The Rock happened. It started
He's a
as a
bad guy.
villain.
He's a
Yeah.
bad
He
guy.
started as a fucking villain.
Yeah.
And so then,
As
when-
charming as he is nowadays, that term was
I think he didn't
him
want to be
becoming
that,
Well,
but
because
he
I
was.
bad
think that
guy.
charming and arrogance are just like
Yeah.
like a blip away from each
And
other.
I think they realized
Yeah.
that this is the way they
Right.
can make it work
It's a
and to
fine
get
line.
the crowd going.
It's a fine line
They
when
decided
you
to
when
use
you
it.
have that much charisma,
Muscle.
confidence.
John
you could
Cena
be an
started the same
asshole
way, and
or
he
a
was one of
legend.
the few people that broke out.
yeah,
He started a similar way. And so I think it's just when you're new, like nobody's gonna like you.
yeah.
So then to when he was becoming The Rock and he was becoming a bad guy, he joined the Nation of Domination.
I do like the name.
Nice.
And then, well, first he fought the Nation of Domination. He joined the Nation of Domination. Then he fought their leader of the Nation of Domination. He's like, you know what? It's not the leader. I'm the ruler of the Nation of Domination.
Yeah.
So he became the ruler of the Nation of Domination.
It happened very quickly. I feel.
Well, from what? Yeah, I think
From our
they
perspective.
skipped
Within a
over
few
a year
minutes
for
for
us.
us.
Yeah.
In the DVD, they skipped over a year.
Yeah.
And he became the ruler of the Nation of Domination. So he's the lead bad boy with all the dudes wearing black, being bad boys, wreaking havoc, pulling
Muscly
pranks.
gothic men.
Yes.
So gone are the blue, colorful tassels.
Now he's wearing all black.
Now it's
baby.
all black.
And it says The Rock on his booty.
Yep.
Because he's The Rock now. He's not Rocky.
His hair is cut slightly.
He
It's,
d-
it's
he-
less
He still has-
jaunty now.
He
He
doesn't
says a
have
little
the.
poof on top, but not as big.
He doesn't have the
more-
long curls.
It's more functional. It's short. It's still hair though. It's still a lot
Yes.
of hair for the Rock.
Still weird seeing The Rock with hair.
Yeah, it's still like a thing, but it's probably at least 50% shorter at this point.
And now the crowd is really yelling Rocky
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah,
They have
like immediately.
they have like signs that say Rocky sucks.
Yeah. The crowd is just fully ready to hate him in this second match.
Yeah.
Which, who is he fighting in the second match again?
Owen
The
Hart,
second match
who
is-
I think looked like a very big Bradley Cooper.
The second match, 1998, Owen Hart, similar in stature and physique to Owen Wilson. Very similar
Nope.
people.
Not at all.
Both of them
He's a big
have-
man like The Rock.
Both of them have.
And he doesn't look like Owen Wilson. He looks like
flowing-
Bradley Cooper.
Flowing medium, like blonde hair.
Nope, he had short hair.
Strange noses.
Nope, he had a little scratch on his nose.
I noticed that when he came into
He
the
had a
fight, he
scratch on his
goes,
nose.
"Wow."
That didn't happen either.
I thought it did. Did it not? Owen Hart, Wilson.
Owen Hart, he has like a heart over his dick
He
and
was
his booty.
fine. He was a fucking loser.
Yeah, he,
He
seemed
just
fine.
didn't go anywhere. I didn't really
He
recognize
didn't
him.
look like, because you know, how you look at a fighter and they usually have like a shtick, you know, that makes them stand out, makes them appealing
Yeah,
to an
what was his?
audience. He didn't have one.
Fucking nothing.
So
He
like
was
you,
this
like
blonde
looking at
The crowd
him,
loved
I
him.
just
The
knew.
crowd loved him though.
I just knew he was gonna be like, nah,
So
pass.
pass.
we were
Get me
shown
someone
this
else.
though. We were definitely like, this is part of the DVD because it's part of the Rock's trajectory in the Nation of Domination, showing him with the Nation and what they do. And so they were playing little tricks.
They dominate.
They were playing with his ankles.
Uh-huh.
They were fucking shit up. And then the ref threw him out. And then the Rock, his eyes got so big.
Yeah, the ref threw out all the Nation domination except for The Rock during the fight, and
Rock was pissed.
he's pissed.
One thing I like to talk about with the second fight. So with the first one, Rock had a size advantage. The second fight, he also had a size advantage. I have written down specifically.
You get stats?
Rock has size and weight advantage, was what the announcers said.
Oh, okay.
So it's another fight he's coming into as the bigger man.
Yes. And he has the Nation of Domination on his
Yeah.
side, playing pranks.
Just a bunch of.
And
Imagine
then-
having like a gang of muscly gods
Guys,
just
guess what?
following you.
Fucking
Speaking-
You would be invincible.
Guys, speaking of muscly
You can do
goths,
whatever you want.
then China comes in. Y'all know China.
China.
She comes in with like a beating stick and beats the shit
So,
out of everyone.
Sloan, for the uninitiated, can you give us a quick recap of who China is?
China. She was the baddest bitch in fucking wrestling.
You have a
She
personal
was-
history with
so,
China.
She was my fucking hero as a kid because, like, there were, like, lady wrestlers, but they were all TNA. You know, they were just there to, like, oh, maybe a titty's gonna pop out. But fucking China fought dudes, and she was fucking strong.
I would be
and
scared
she
to see her
took
titty.
no shit from no
She
one.
looked like a motherfucker.
She is
awesome.
beautiful in the way like a Gorgon is.
I wanted to grow up to be China. I wanted to be her when I grew
You
up.
know, I just figured out, guys. You know, she looks like a Mortal Kombat character.
She
Oh.
does.
You're right.
She's just as tall
Yeah.
as the dudes, like the big wrestlers. She's over 6 foot
She
tall.
looks like a Neanderthal.
She
She's
has
just
the strongest triceps.
thick and muscly, and she can just like rip you in half without
strongest
thinking
jaw.
about it.
She's beautiful in some strange,
Scary,
fierce
sexy way.
I loved her.
I would let her do whatever she needs to do to my genitals, but they wouldn't be the same afterwards.
Imagine if like Xena just did a bunch of protein shakes for like a year
And grew a foot.
and grew an extra foot.
So
Yeah.
she was.
She
yeah,
fucks you.
like,
It's
as a kid-
definitely never the other way around.
Yes. So as a kid, China and The Rock were my favorite wrestlers.
Good.
So this was very exciting
Yeah,
for me
good
to
taste.
see The Rock. Then have China come out of nowhere and beat the shit
China.
out of the dude with the stick and then
China.
just walk away casually. It was awesome. Oh yeah, China is spelled with a Y, I believe. So it's like
But
China.
can you, like, we didn't talk about how China did come into the match and change the course of the match.
So yeah, she came in. She had like one of those cop sticks.
Well, The Rock was about to lose.
Yeah, and then I think she hit him in the back.
She straight up just, like, came in, I don't know,
out
like,
of nowhere.
it's just, like, adding whatever, like,
Drama.
fuel, drama to the
'cause, yeah,
storyline.
the
The
nation was kicked
Drama.
out, and then she's like, I fucking got this.
She came in,
She comes
hit some
sneaking
guy
in.
with the fucking police billy club, and then left.
Yeah, and she just casually
Which
walked
is
away.
very WrestleMania if I've seen any
She
WrestleMania.
just walked away,
Yeah, it
and
was
then
a
The
good
Rock
move.
took the belt again.
He won somehow. Somehow, like, it just wrapped up quickly.
Again,
we
it
didn't
was a
really see him
very
win.
quick
I
win.
would say the first match we saw him win. Second match, we didn't see him win. We were confused at the end of this match.
The only reason I knew he won is because I heard his theme song play.
Yeah, we were confused. We were like, how is this over? What just
We didn't
happened?
know what happened. It was kind of sloppily handled. But,
So continue.
you know, as long as The Rock wins,
I do think it
we
is
win.
a thing with wrestling where like it's all build up, and then there's a lot of fake pins, and then the
It's
one that
predetermined,
counts
of course.
is fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that counts is just like fast and hard. Like I
Yeah,
think that
but
is
don't
a thing.
skimp on the end game, though.
I think
I
that
think
is
so
a
too,
thing.
yeah.
Maybe not so much anymore, but from what we've seen and like what I remember, I think it is a thing where it's like a lot of build up and then a quick finish
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah,
so she
been
comes
there,
in,
brother.
she beats like Owen's back, and
The sex thing.
then we got it. And so anyway, after this match though, we lead into the next match where there's a twist. You remember?
The twist
Do
is
you remember
that
The Rock fighting Owen? And do you remember China coming in and helping The Rock?
Yeah.
Twist.
Twist?
Twist.
Tell me more, Sloan.
2 months later in 1998, now we're in April. That was in, what's 2 months before April? January,
February?
February is what we have right now.
Way harder than you would think to do
Oh,
that.
actually, no, I
Dude,
think
I can
months
only-
backwards is
I
so
can only
fucking
go
hard.
forward
You know
months.
why? Because you've only gone forward.
Only
with
go
them.
forward. I don't go back in time like
so.
some kind
Actually,
of
sorry.
Yeah, we don't have a fucking time machine.
Okay, so this match.
Don't
the
tell me
match-
to do
Zuckerberg or
backwards.
some shit.
Wait, the match we just discussed was in April of 1998. This one's in June of 1998. 2 months later, guess what?
What,
China's
Sloan?
not on the Rock side. China is now with the Degeneration faction.
Now, who's in the Degeneration faction? Who is The Rock going to be up
It's led
against?
by Triple H. The Degeneration is.
Now,
China's-
what did those H's stand for again? Because I know previously in the first match that he went by actual names.
Heimlich Hammerfall Henryson.
Hunter Hearst Hemsley. He finally got it together and went by Triple H.
Triple H sounds so much cooler.
He's now
easier
in
to
the
do.
Degeneration faction. There's a lot of air humping and a lot of pyrotechnics,
Oh,
and it
and
has
Suck
China.
it.
Shit ton
That's
of
the
humping.
suck it. That's
And
the suck it.
you know who's joined the Nation of Domination? Owen Hart has. Rock beat his ass, and then he made him part of his team. So he's like, "Yeah, baby, you're on my team now. You're my little bitch."
You
That's-
belong to me.
belong to
This
me.
sounded like a video game at this point.
Stand in line.
He defeated him, and now he's part of his team.
And
Yeah.
then
Like,
China
you beat
helped,
me,
and
and
she
now
was
I'll
like,
fight with you.
You know what? I'm gonna join your previous enemy, and I'm gonna join Triple H. So this
Which
is
we
what's
don't really know
happening.
I don't know
why
her
China
motives.
went and helped The Rock in the first
I
place.
assume
Well-
she's trying to save her dying
I think
father.
I
or
bet
some
she had some beef with Owen Hart.
crazy-
I think so too.
I bet she
I
had some
think
beef. I don't think it
her-
had anything to do
I
with
didn't think
The
it had to do with helping The
I
Rock.
think she was just wanting
I
to beat
think her
Owen Hart.
plot is so much above these mortal fools. I think
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
on her own timeline here.
Yeah.
She comes and goes and kicks ass and does whatever she wants.
Yeah, it's true.
And Degeneration, they're talking a lot of shit at the beginning of the match.
Yeah.
They're talking about The Rock's nation. He says they're not even in our league. That's what Triple H does.
Yeah.
And then he air humps.
Yeah.
With like he makes like
does-
an X in front of his dick. And
you
then
guys-
Suck it. That's the suck it.
Yeah, suck it.
That was a pretty popular thing to do, I remember.
Yeah.
I did a lot of those.
I wrote hump
Yeah.
fireworks.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Is it a
Hump
fond
fireworks
memory?
with China.
Yeah.
Humps fireworks.
With China.
Nice.
That's what's happening.
So-
Dude, what is more rock and roll than that?
And then again, though, people are shouting, "Rocky sucks." Rocky
Sucks. It's yeah.
He's
it's
changed
interesting.
his image to The Rock. He's
They don't
ditched
care.
the blue and the tassels.
It's a common theme
he's,
still.
He's in
They don't care.
serious black leather, and they still say Rocky
He's the ruler
sucks.
of the Nation of Domination. They don't care. He's
don't
still
fucking
Rocky.
care.
They don't care.
They don't care. Rocky still
Also,
sucks.
in this time, Hemsley
H.
has done a transformation
Triple
too.
H now.
He's ditched the Heimlich deal. He's
no
now
more
called,
wizard robe.
He's no more wizard robes. He's ditched. No one calls him Henry Harvard Hemlington anymore. He's just H3, H3, and
With Ethan and Neela.
Yeah. And he's got more serious get up
Well,
too, right?
I wrote that he went from. Oh wait.
Barely. Just
I just went that.
Yeah,
I wrote that he went.
I mean, you can't
Well,
clean it up
hold
that
on.
much.
It wasn't just black. He had some stylings on the side. He went from wizard metal to Metallica metal.
He was
Okay.
more Enter Sandman
He's
this
wearing
time around.
yes, he's wearing like a plasticky leather now.
Yeah.
It has like neon stuff with like kind of metally like font, and he's
Buckles. I think he had buckles.
Yeah, no, I think
He had kind
no,
of
the
he had an
belt
ICP
buckle earlier.
design
Yeah.
on his clothing.
God.
I don't know what things
What?
are on.
As Aaron said about Triple H, when I said he's more Metallica metal now, Aaron said he's ready to ride the lightning.
Yeah.
Oh, he was totally ready to ride that lightning.
Right.
And,
in this fight, Henrik, I guess I should start calling him
It's
H3,
Triple H.
H3 again.
No, it's Triple
So
H.
H3
Preferably
is
Triple
doing
H.
a lot of.
Triple H. I'll just like.
I don't know
He will
what-
haunt your nightmares if you do not say his name.
I'm just gonna
correctly.
keep.
Triple H
Okay.
is doing really nimble, twisty flips. Do you remember
He's-
this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember this?
He's got some flexibility
Yeah.
for how big
Holy
as he
shit.
is.
Yeah, The Rock is trying to get him, and he keeps fucking flipping out, doing muscle spins,
Yeah.
and it's impressive. It's starting the fight off in a positive.
It's like trying to
way.
fight a snake.
Yeah, a big muscle snake.
Yeah. I mean, snakes are muscle
I mean,
anyway.
the
Not
only
true.
notes that I have are
Okay,
for near
sure.
the end of the match, which is something that I noticed. As we've talked about, The Rock is still a villain. And
Yeah.
as we know, in like the Rock vocab, there's the people's elbow. But I noticed when The Rock threw the elbow down on Triple H, they didn't say the people's elbow. They just said aggressive elbow.
I
Is it-
think they are also calling it the people's elbow sometimes,
I
but it
heard
hasn't
specifically-
it hasn't stuck
yeah.
yet.
I think
It's
it might be
still-
something that's in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to.
Because I don't
sprinkle
think
it in.
he's the
There's-
people's champ
No,
right now.
he's
Because
the
the people
Rock.
hate him
Yeah,
right now.
he-
They say it, but the
It's the
people
aggressive.
don't agree with it.
Yeah.
It's the aggressive elbow.
He's got to come around.
He does. I have written down sassy elbow. Does this mean anything to you?
Elbow
He
was-
just had some really good
Well, probably when I
finesse to
wrote
his
down.
moves.
Just like-
oh yes, it was
Yeah.
when The
He
Rock.
kinda, like,
The
slowly-
Rock, yeah. So the Rock. So The Rock threw Triple H on the mat, and then The Rock he went on the what are they called? He went on the ropes. And
Yeah.
he ran over him, and he didn't drop yet. And then he went on the ropes again, and then he goes
Uh-huh.
over him, and then he doesn't use the momentum. He stops, makes a face, and drops the elbow.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that was
just
the aggressive.
gracefully.
Yeah.
That's the sassy elbow.
Super sassy.
Boom.
And all really I have left for that match was then the
Nut
way The
shot
Rock
backflip win.
throat punch.
Throw a punch. There's a throat punch.
Throat punch and a nut shot.
There was
Yeah.
throat punch, then not chop for the win.
Dude, nut chops were so early 2000s.
Nut chops were.
Yeah. Like nut shots in general.
And
you know?
nut shots in movies. They were in every
You,
single.
you haven't
movie.
seen a nut shot in the last like 5 years in a movie.
You don't do that anymore. It's not woke anymore. But they put a nut shot in anything remotely comedy,
Yeah.
and they're gonna put it in wrestling, and
worked.
it worked. It disables your opponent when your
Yeah.
testicles
Yeah,
are
guess
engaged.
what? Turns
And
out,
you
guess what
could-
hurts? Getting hit in the fucking nuts.
Even if
But
it's fake, it
it's
hurts.
also-
Yeah, I'm
here's
sure
the
it still
thing, though.
hurt them.
It's
You
also
probably
I
are
think
still
it's-
getting tapped a bit.
I do feel like it is a move reserved
Little
for
Jimmy
a heel.
tap.
Like a face wouldn't do that. A heel would do
Yeah.
like a shady
Heels,
move like that.
That's
heels
very
would
true.
give you a little
Heels
Jimmy
would do
tap.
a shady move.
That's a good
They
point.
play tricks. They do nut shots. And the whole time also, while we were watching this match, the announcers were like, could he be the king of the ring twice? Nobody's ever been the king of the ring twice. So I
Yeah,
guess
for the first time ever.
Yeah, that seems
Something-
not.
No one has won 2 matches like this.
This is
don't-
crazy.
I think it's like a specific match called King of the Ring. I don't know.
It's
I
not
think
a-
so, because that was
I
more
think
of a
it was
tournament. It
specific
seemed.
match. So I guess
The weight of it did
it
not
was
hit
some
me.
kind of big deal. We don't know
There's
the
so many
terminology yet.
tournaments
We
and
have
so many
much-
belts being
We
thrown
have a
around.
lot to learn.
We have so much to learn.
Yeah. This was. I think
showing our
we
ignorance.
grasped it pretty well for our knowledge, but it goes deeper.
If it even okay, so Rock Block fans, at this point, you're gonna have to incorporate into your vocabulary the terms heel and face,
not
because in future wrestling things, we will be using them, and
I'm gonna
probably
go
not
ahead-
explaining what they are. So just get used to it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say heel and face in his movies now.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a theme, and also
like it.
I think
Maybe
it's
in real
interesting
life.
that-
It seems
no,
appropriate
I think this
for
is
some
worth
reason.
bringing up because, I think there are a couple parallels though that we noticed during the wrestling is that like part of just like wrestling is you're not allowed to use curse words. The Rock continued to
Yeah.
refuse to use curse words. He also
It's
refuses
confusing.
to. Oh, it's confusing in wrestling.
Yeah, he says, you son of a biscuit.
Soup
Yeah.
drinking, mama's boy.
Milk drinker,
Yeah.
Do you smell?
shoe shiner.
Yeah, it's a mess.
What in the friendship is he talking about?
It's a mess.
It's
But
crazy.
he does continue with that. He's also like never. I feel like it's a continuation of like the no cursing, sexy but not sexualized.
Yeah.
And also the fact that I don't think he ever wanted to be a heel. He used it when he needed to, but the thing that he always wanted is to be a face, and he would never be a heel in a movie.
I think in the back
Some would
of
say
his
similar
mind.
to Nicolas Cage. You guys know that
I knew
Nicolas
you were
Cage.
gonna
I'm gonna
Fucking
stop
brain
you
Nicolas
right here.
I knew you were Nicolas Cage in this shit, Sloan.
Do not compare my hero
I'm
to
just
that
saying.
fucking
There's a door.
worm.
I'm just saying Nicolas Cage specifically
I'm just
refuses.
saying this is
Can
the
I
rock
share a
block.
fun fact if people don't know this? Nicolas
Quickly.
Cage specifically refuses roles where he has to be a bad guy unless the directors and the people in casting can convince him you're not actually a bad guy, and maybe he buys it sometimes.
That's stupid.
It's
Danny
just funny.
Trejo refuses to be a bad guy unless he gets killed, and this is cool because he doesn't want to.
Machete.
He doesn't want to promote. He doesn't want to glorify bad gang behavior because he used to be a villain, and if
Well, he's
he's a
always
bad
portrayed
guy,
as a
he
specific kind of
requires
bad
that he
guy.
gets killed. That's cool. Nick Cage isn't cool. The Rock is cool.
I think it's interesting.
We
Rock
can
is
all.
cool.
I
We
wouldn't
can all
say it's
move
cool.
on.
I'm saying it's interesting.
It is interesting.
It is interesting if you're an idiot.
I'm very much looking
so-
forward to any like the future matches. We have so
We
many.
didn't finish how the match ended.
Back. I have
Just real
nut
quick, I just
nut
feel like
shot
we should finish
backflip wins.
Mud shot
So-
backflip.
Nut shot for the win, and then we're like, oh, it's over. But then there's a brawl between the Nation of Domination and the Degeneration faction.
Yeah.
And then it's just
It
like
just gets
it's just a super
stupid.
brawl.
Yeah.
And then
It gets fucking
I just wanted
stupid.
to add that like it ended in like there were like 20.
The ring gets crowded by big muscly men
Yeah.
representing both sides
Yeah.
after the match, after The Rock is deemed the victor.
Yes, I just wanted to add that that's how it ended.
So-
So like there's something that I think is going to lead to the. I just feel like
Yeah.
it's worth mentioning because I think it's
More
gonna go
drama.
Into the more drama. And it's probably going to go into the next matches that we'll watch.
Should we
is
say
it
that with
ended
more like a
with
more drama? Drama.
So this was the Rock Block's first foray into the wrestling world, and I
Yeah.
think it went well.
It's been fun.
And we
Wrestling's fun to
found
watch, guys.
we found that there's much more to go. This is the beginning
There's
of
so
the Rock's
much more.
wrestling career, but there was much more wrestling before he became in his film career.
Yeah.
I think it was important to see how he started.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
But we're just seeing him grow, and I definitely could see another wrestling episode in the future. Maybe not necessarily the next one, but we're going to come back to this.
Well, we have so many
It's
more
fucking
fights.
badass.
We have so many more
I just got
contents and
goosebumps for the
fight.
content.
Like,
Oh yeah.
dude, we got 3 discs, so we got so much more to go through.
I'm so
Oh,
excited
yeah.
to see him fight Stone Cold, you guys. That's gonna be much later, I think, but I'm getting so many
Zach's holding
goosebumps.
up a glorious picture of this man.
Trying not to throb.
Yeah. I
luck.
thought I was a heterosexual male, and I don't know about either anymore. This is incredible.
It's a good fucking photo. It's
great.
all wet.
I just want to blow that up and put it on my wall.
Dude, we need to get a full-size poster of this shit.
Jesus Christ, the man is incredible. He is,
I don't want to close it.
at the very least,
Don't.
he is a daily inspiration for me. At the
I
most,
feel like this should maybe be the photo.
maybe a
for
new
the
religion.
image of, like scan this image, and that'll be like the image for this
We
episode.
could. We'll
I was,
look
I don't
into
know.
I
it.
was thinking
I
about
just
it
want.
too.
I
Look into
would
it.
like the listeners to see the
Yeah.
photo that we're creaming over.
Yeah.
At least.
I'm.
Gotta maybe link to it.
Yeah, we're all
in the,
creaming.
in the info.
So-
the smell of stale nut is in the
Can
air.
I say we'll link to it in the
Yeah.
info?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you guys want to do the rating system on this? Do we want to rate
Ah.
Oh,
do
interesting.
we want to rate the wrestling as a whole, or just rate how The Rock did in his performance?
Entertainment factor of the
Or do we
whole
wanna do
thing
both again?
versus how
You know
the Rock
what?
performed?
I mean-
Because we only watched it we didn't really watch any of the other parts of it. We just watched the Rock parts. You just want to do one scoring? Do you guys want to still do two?
I mean,
That's kind
there's
of up to
still
you.
the charisma. There's still the eyebrow. There's
I mean,
still the
that's-
body.
Maybe just a 1 rating compared to how we find entertainment in his movies. What do you think?
I think it's just like a specifically rock.
Do you want to start us off? It seems like you have some stuff to say.
Yeah. You go.
How do you feel? Okay, 1 to 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. How much of a good time and how good did The Rock put on a performance in these matches we watched?
I'm trying to compare him to some of the films we've watched, which can be clunkers, can be great films,
Also
but
a different thing.
the feature that you know is that The Rock is going to perform well.
Correct.
And we're
It's a
seeing
given.
we're seeing a young, unrefined Rock here, but it's raw. And
Did you say
and
WWE wrong?
God damn, he's not nearly as big or toned, but he
Yes,
is
he is.
still bigger and more toned than anyone I've seen in my life. His eyebrow game is aggressive.
So strong.
I think
Aggressive.
the strongest
Yeah.
in his wrestling.
Yeah, this is like what it was.
I think
Yeah.
I think he's kind of doesn't want to do it anymore because
Yeah, I mean that was what this character was. He's
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
be someone else now. He's Dwayne Johnson now.
He'll give you a little bit,
Yeah.
but not as much as he used
this
to.
is a hard one to say. I'm just gonna throw an 8 out of 10 out there.
Yeah.
It was great. I just know that he blossoms and matures in his future. I don't want to. It's not like he peaked when he was young. He's still growing. Look at that. He's amazing. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I'm not someone that you think would be into wrestling, but The Rock got me here and I had a great time.
Nice. Sloan, how do you feel? Can we get some numbers from you?
So I'm thinking
Some
about
thoughts?
this. So this is I'm having a difficult time thinking about this because it's like this is like especially the later match that we watched. This is closer to The Rock that I fell in love with as a child. But which makes me want to give him a 10 out of 10.
Correct.
But I also know that in his if I'm just thinking about his wrestling career, I know it's going to get better. And I just know where it's going to go. And I know it's just going to get even better and better. And he's going to have even more charisma. There's going to be more Do You Smell. There's going to be so much more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
He didn't even do that move yet.
it wasn't the time. So, I know it's going to get so much better. I don't want to give him an 8, though. It still seems too low because he's still, like, the way he's persevering through, like, people not letting him be the champion that he knows he is. And he's still so charismatic and such a performer. I'm going to go with an 8.7. Because I know he's going to go to a 10 when we watch the later wrestling matches.
Yeah. Okay.
So the way I see it, so Aaron, you base yours based against his future performances. The way I see it, I base mine more off of how he was in the time that he made these products and put on these shows for us. Because he talked about how he didn't want to be a bad guy, he didn't want to live in the shadow, but he did because that's what he needed to do. And the fact that he went and he did it, he persevered.
Yeah.
He did what he needed to do because he needed to do it, you know? And after watching these few shows, I could tell he just wanted, who doesn't want to be a winner?
Yeah.
He loves to be a winner, but he had to be hated to be a winner. That takes a fucking lot. And to do that and still put on a good show and have fun.
Put on a great show.
That shows strength.
Yeah, and have a good time. I'm gonna give him an 8.5 because similar to what Sloan said, I know it is going to just increase from here, so I can't start at a 10 and go more.
Yeah.
I know because unfortunately I know there's more coming. I'm gonna say 8.5 because I did have a wonderful time seeing this.
That's
Wonderful performance based on where he has been at this point, and there's more room to grow.
That's a good point about what you said about him. A natural hero
Yeah.
taking the villain role because he knows that that's the best move.
I would
Yeah.
also say, too, and not with all the wrestlers, but then when I do compare him to some of the other wrestlers, and again, these were very Rock-focused matches, but also when I'm just comparing his skills as being a performer, as a wrestler, he was doing a lot better than
It's
some
not
of the
even
other
just
people.
wrestling, just like the commentary and the
Yeah.
microphone, and just
And
like making himself be
his
iconic in so
presence.
many ways.
His presence. He
His
made
presence,
his presence known
his sayings,
always.
just the way he holds himself, and trying to live up to
And
his
some of
legacy.
some of
He's
them
a
were
good
still like
fucking
Triple H
wrestler.
was definitely a performer. He had some stuff going. China, she's a strong presence, but then there are other people there that like
She didn't say much. Though. At least he
she
comes out.
doesn't have to.
Well, him saying something
We only saw her for a
does
second,
add to
though.
it. That's
I'm just
true.
saying.
I
I'm just
have
saying.
not
So when
seen,
I'm
like,
also
any of
comparing
her.
performances, I also just like wanted to say I'm also giving my high rating because like the way that I'm seeing other people, the way other people caught me, like Owen Wilson or whatever. He didn't. Owen Hart.
Owen Wilson. What are you talking about?
So yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that
Wow.
it's not just because he's The Rock. It's that he was really great at being a wrestler, even
Yeah.
when people hated him. He was doing such a great job. I just wanted to reiterate that.
He just
kind of
stands
with what
up and
you
he
said.
does what needs to be
Yeah,
done.
he's great.
It's fucking great.
The people's champ. The people don't realize it yet, but he
They
is
will.
the people.
The most electrifying man in sports
Sports
entertainment.
Damn straight.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. This has been the Rock Block. This is episode 12.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. We love you all. We love The Rock. Again, we are your hosts. I am Zach.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Sloan.
And we'll see you next time.
Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
That's a good one.
Yes, man.